Last time, we talked a little bit about what the kids used to call economic anxiety, back before it was code for racism, and a big driver of that anxiety that I did not mention, technology. I feel a little like a broken record here, but there are so many things we're super accustomed to today that just weren't there when Die Hard came out. Jackson DeGovia is unreal as a production designer, but he pretty clearly wasn't, spending much time staring at a keyboard while drawing up how this movie should look. Still, this was bleeding-edge stuff back then, and it plays a very intentional role. First, when McClane gets in the limo.
Man, look at this. CD, CB, TV, telephone.
And again when he gets to the plaza.
Cute toy. Yeah, you have to take a leak. It'll even help you find your zipper.
In fact, the security guard here, he's probably not paying much attention, what with this machine covering so many bases for him. I wonder if that will have consequences. Despite this splash of old-fashioned murdering, the first thing the baddies hit is the technology. The supposed convenience and safety of a centralized digital operation lets one dude lock the doors, turn off most of the elevators, and then render those changes undoable. Phones weren't as high-tech then, but still, this cool little box lets Tony here render the entire building's phone system useless in almost less time than it takes to cut it with a chainsaw. Later, as Hans presses Takagi for the code, which really seems like it should be 2 codes based on this screen, Takagi's pretty convinced that even with the code, the vault is unbreachable.
There are 7 safeguards on our vault, and the code key is only one of them. You'll never get it open.
But once again, faith in tech is misplaced. I mean, his holding out cost him his life and apparently only added half an hour to the bad guy's scheme.
30 minutes to break the code.
Now, I do have some issues with that math, given that a 10-character password, even limited to a 37-character sample set, still yields 4.8 quadrillion combinations, which would be so slow on a 1988 CPU, even one running this elaborate, over-animated, live-translating dictionary attack, that the fastest way to crack it would be waiting until 25 years later when supercomputing clusters could do it in, conservatively, a couple hours. This might be a good reminder for all of you to reset your passwords. Anyway, the code is cracked, but as Takagi said and Theo admits, there are bigger barriers.
One more to go, then it's up to you. And you better be right, because it looks like this last one's gonna take a miracle.
How will Hans overcome them?
The circuits that cannot be cut are cut automatically in response to a terrorist incident. You asked for miracles, Theo. I give you the FBI.
But for all his success over Nakatomi, Hans is also tech-reliant. And how is he undone? Holiday masking tape. In a film awash in 1980s tech glitz, McClane is undeniably analog, starting from pretty much scratch, doing most of his damage by hand or with an even then decade-old Beretta. He's a scavenger and an improviser, turning the tech of his opponents against them and making powerful allies of the unremarkable legacy accoutrements in the meat space world still scattered around Nakatomi Plaza. When McClane does make a technological play, it does not go well. Fire alarms and radios fail to alert the authorities, leaving him the rather blunt instrument of tossing a body out the window to bring backup.
Welcome to the party, pal!
And the modern glass-heavy design of this room of servers and terminals is very nearly his undoing. In fact, it's tech that alerts the news crews to the Nakatomi crisis and in turn lets Hans identify Holly as McClane's wife. Die Hard's final action, Al's simple service revolver shooting Carl as he draws down with his decidedly postmodern Steyr AUG, seems to be the triumph of the tried and simple over the new and complex, a concept that finds an audience as readily today as it did 30 years back. I'm Cosmo Catalano. Until next time, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.